afternoon. I'm Barbara Tinnerman Cecil, and on behalf of Susie Spittler and Tom Beck, who records these sessions for us, I want to welcome you to the 20th oral history taping. Last month, we heard from our bus drivers of Melton Union Schools, and today we're going to hear from our cafeteria workers who have served us. Our first speaker is Peggy Stein, and I'll just turn it over to her. Peggy.
Greenstein. I was a cafeteria worker for 28 years and I retired in 2004. I was in the Melton school system the whole 12, 13 years. I went to kindergarten in the summer and then I went into the 1 through 12 and spent all my grade school or high school years here. Sad to see the buildings being torn down. We walked from the McKinley building when I was in grade school, and we walked over to the high school, to the cafeteria, and we had all kind of weather when we walked. We had no covering or anything, so we just walked across that gravelly parking lot, and we ate in the high school, and I think our meals at that time were 25 cents. And we can remember having chili soup and hot dogs. But today they don't allow you to have the hamburger and the chili and the hot dogs together, so we have peanut butter and chili. And on Fridays, we always had salmon patties and cream peas. And a lot of that ended up in the garbage. Kids did not like that. And I can remember when I started working there, how great big kettle of chicken and noodles that we had. And oh, those were so good. But the kids today don't like to eat chicken and noodles. Some of the cafeteria workers that I remember from way back, Mrs. Flory, Mary Kennison and Georgia Lyons, who were twins, Laverne Kugler, Jake Harshbarger's wife, and Ruth Tinnerman, who was Barbara's mother. My husband David, who's sitting out here, he worked in the cafeteria in high school, and he would carry the garbage and the plates and things back to the kitchen where they could take care of them. And he got a double lunch that way. So all through high school, he earned his lunch. And then we ended up getting married later on. Later on, Betty Mishler was head of the cafeteria, and Dick Steiner was the big boss upstairs. And then I was a sub with Pat Holtzapfel, and we came in at lunchtime. Betty asked us to come in part-time, and we made the apple and the cherry turnovers and soft pretzels. But then I think there were complaints about us getting so much time and all the rest of the subs didn't. And they did away with the cherry turnovers, the apple turnovers, and all that. So then we got hired full time. She got hired, I think, ahead of me. But then my first job was in the original primary cafeteria, which then there were 3 cafeterias, one in the high school, one in the primary, and one in the elementary. And then they finally did away with the primary cafeteria and moved everybody down to the elementary and then the high school. My first job, I worked in the cafeteria, was wiping tables. And I replaced Bea Fullenkamp, who she retired. And then I moved over to the high school cafeteria as a kitchen helper and a cook. And one of the cashiers said that it made her very nervous to run the cash register. And I said, well, I guess I can run it. So they asked if I would take the cashier's job, and that's what I did. And that was what I was working at from then on until I retired. So later on, then I got to move to the high school building. The elementary building. I was at the high school. When I moved to the elementary, then I got to work more hours. And 2 of my bosses in the elementary were Lynn Halp and then Linda Boffman. And I loved seeing all the little kids, seeing their moms and their grandparents, and the grandparents are who I graduated with, so it was a special treat when we had Grandparents' Day, and they all came in to visit. Very rewarding, because you get hugs from the kids, and it just was special. And then we went to the computer, and we had to learn the computer. They had to take classes for us cashiers, and so I worked there for a year, and I thought, now, it's time for me to leave. For 28 years, that was enough for me. I loved Melton as a student and an employee, and I had many, many memories. And I'll turn it over to Pat Holtzapfel.
Okay, let's see here. I worked, excuse me, from 1976 to 1998. I subbed for about 4 years, and at one time they allowed us to buy our sub time, which I think now they get their retirement on subs, don't you? Well, we had to buy the years up. So I retired after 25 years, retired November of 98. I worked in all 3 buildings, and just, I liked the work. I didn't start subbing until, I forget when, I worked for Barb J over in the high schools where I started. And then, excuse me, but before I had worked in the kitchen, I'd done pots and pans and stuff like that, which was dishwasher, which is, you know, that's okay. It's the way you get started. And, but there's no job like being a cashier. I enjoyed that. And my favorite story as being a cashier was one day a little first grader came up and handed me a bill, paid for his lunch, and he just walked out. And I looked at it, and it was a $100 bill. And that just about breaks your, takes about all your change to cash a $100 bill. And he didn't even know he had it, so I gave it to his teacher. And yeah, it's just, you know, little kids get worked up when they had to borrow money or they didn't forgot their money, and it was just a good time. I worked with about all these girls. Luann and Ramona. I didn't get a chance to work with them, but it must have came after 98. So I'm going to turn it over to Linda.
I'm Linda Bachman. I moved to West Milton in 1970. I have 2 daughters and 3 grandsons. That's why I started working at the school, because I could see my kids, and now I see my grandson. 2 of them have graduated. And I've done many jobs in the cafeteria. I've served on the line. I did dishwasher, ovens, pots and pans, tables, and now I'm one of the head cooks. This year has been the hardest year for me because of the new guidelines, and it's scary putting all 12 grades plus Head Start in one building. The first few days of school were really rough. I should say first few months. But things are going a lot smoother now. We get the kids in and out on time, and everybody seems to be happy, the teachers, the principals, and everybody. And you hear the students, when you're going out to eat or someplace to the groceries, oh, I know you from the cafeteria. That makes you feel special that, oh, they remember you. And the last 2 years, we've had Head Start go through, and those are the sweetest little kids. They're 3, 4, and 5-year-olds. And there's a couple of them, a little boy and a little girl. They're pretty close to one another. You see them hugging and kissing as they go by. Luann and I get a big chuckle out of that when we see that. And we have some 4th grade boys that this year, every day last week, they told us happy birthday. There's 3 of us that they told us happy birthday, and our ages started out at 20 and went down to age 10. As you can tell, we're nowhere near any of those ages. And over the years, we have lost a few employees, and I wanted to recognize them. Barb J., Laura Burning, Sam Furlong, and Diane Feldbaum. And those are the ones that died from cancer, which really broke our hearts. That's about all I have to say. I know there's more, but I can't think of it. Now I'll turn it over to Ramona Grossman.
Alrighty, hello there. I started out as a sub on Nellie Biesecker's bus. That's my mom. And then I put my name in on the cafeteria sub list. I thought, well, I don't have anything else to do. I can do this too. And I was hired as a dishwasher in September 2005. Then I moved on to be a cook and went on to be a cashier. And that's the job I enjoy the most, is being a cashier and seeing all the little kids. And I like working with money, always have. And as a cook, one day I was serving toasted cheese sandwiches. There's a little kindergarten girl going through the lunch line, and she's just a-crying. So I go up and I ask her what's the matter, because I thought, well, maybe she wanted a peanut butter sandwich instead of toasted cheese. Through the boo-hoos and all the tears, she finally got relayed to me that her mommy always cuts the crust off of her sandwiches. Well, needless to say, I just told her to pull the crust off and eat around it. So the rest of the day I got razzed for being the meanest cook in West Milton because I wouldn't cut the crust off this poor child's sandwich. And, I made her cry so bad, but she got over it, I'm sure. And as a cashier, I had a first grader come up to me the other day, it was like 2 weeks ago, and told me I smelled like his mother. I hope that was a good thing. I'm not sure, but you just never know what they're going to tell you. They'll say anything. And then I have a little second grade boy. I think he's going to be a salesman someday. He came up and he says, my mom's got her lawnmower all ready to go. She's sharpened the blades. And he says, she can mow your yard for you. I said, oh, really? And he says, yeah. He says, she's got a riding lawnmower. It's Craftsman. I said, oh. I said, well, I've got a riding lawnmower. He wanted to know if it was Craftsman. I said, no, it's a Husky. And he says, well, hers is better. It's a Craftsman. And I just got the biggest chuckle out of him. He was just too darn cute. And then my granddaughter, she goes to the Head Start program. She's been there for the 2 years. I always go over this year since I can see them in the cafeteria. Last year they ate in their room. Well, this year they're coming down to the cafeteria. And she's the last class that comes through, so I'm not busy. I don't have any students coming through my side. I go over and say hello and, tell her I'll either pick her up or somebody else is picking her up afterwards. And all the kids, she's calling me Grandma. All the kids started saying, hey, Grandma, hi, Grandma. Well, just out of the blue, one day she decided that, no, they're not calling you Grandma. She's not sharing me anymore. That was it. Her little feathers got ruffled, and she got all bristled up and said, her name is Ramona. And boy, if they call me Grandma now, she just spouts off. But, that's my granddaughter. And like Linda said, seeing the kids outside of the school, that's great. I mean, it's so funny because they'll look at you and they're not sure because you're not in the element that they see you in every day. And they look at you like, okay. And then I'll say, you know me from school. Or if I call them by name, that really gets them. But a lot of them, I've had kids run up and hug me, and I don't even see them coming, They'll grab you and hug you. And it's great. It's fun. We have some of the politest children in our area. These kids are really, really good. For the most part, we have a great group of students, and the parents out there, you've done a wonderful job. And I'm going to turn it over. Oh, I'm supposed to talk about the prices now. I forgot about that. Our high school lunches, they're no longer a quarter, ladies. They're $2.35. Middle school is $2.25, and the elementary is $2.15. So cost has gone up, but so has everything else. And now I'll turn it over to Luann Buckner.
Hi, I'm Luann Wilson Buckner, and I started out a sub with Barb J in the high school, and 2001, and then 2001 I got hired in October the 15th, and I did pots and pans and the trays, and then when Barb passed away, I went over to the middle school, and I had Linda Bachman, my supervisor, and I started doing the trays, and then I went out and washed these tables, and it made me feel like I'm close to the kids, the teachers, and the kids all the time hug me or tell me stories. And one day, the little boy stood there, and he had his hand up on the table, and I said, what's wrong? And he said, you didn't get the table right. It's dirty. And I said, oh, I'm sorry. And it was black pepper. And I didn't see it, but he did. So I said, well, thank you. I appreciate that. So I wiped it off, and he went on his class, you know. And then when I got sick, all the young kids and the older kids made out get well cards, and I really have them and always have them, and I appreciate that. And then I went and started serving, and I like the kids. They say the darndest things all the time. And I had it in my throat one day, and this little kindergarten kid says, "What's wrong with you?" And I said, "I have a frog in my throat." And he said, "A frog?" And he got to laughing, and I'm thinking, oh, you'll go home and tell the lunch lady Hat swallowed a frog. But later on, he came back. I felt better, and he said, "You doing better?" And I said, "Much better." And it's thoughtful that they can do that. And when I say over the weekend, I say, "Have a good weekend," they'll say the same thing. Or "Have a good day," they say the same thing too. And they're very polite. They really are. And, but, you know, I've been there 12 years now. I started out late in life. But I enjoy it. I really do. I like to see the people. I like to see the kids and the workers. And now I'm under Linda Bachman and Lynn Hobb. So, and now I'll turn it over to Debbie Kress.
Hi, I'm Debbie Kress, and I'm married to Don. He was raised in West Milton, and I came to Milton in 1971 when my parents moved from Dayton. What a shock. A big city to a farming community. As a senior in high school, I was not happy, but as it turned out, I grew to love it here. I married Don in '74, had 2 daughters, Michelle and Teresa. And in 1985, Kenny Kaufman was Michelle's bus driver. And anybody knows Kenny knows what a recruiter, a relentless recruiter he was. So I subbed on the bus for a few months, and also for Barb J. and Pat Williams in the cafeteria. And then finally in 1989, I was hired in the elementary middle school, and I started off as a dishwasher, did that for I think about 7 or 8 years. I was about ready to quit, but then I got more hours and started serving. And Lynn Halp was my supervisor then. And my girls were 2nd and 5th grade at that time. And it was so nice to be able to be home with them, to get them on the bus, and then go to work, be back home, and see them at school too, and then make a little money. And they never had to carry their lunch because they knew where I was. So I carried it for them. The girls didn't, well, no. Now Michelle, my oldest, is a middle school teacher at Milton, and Teresa is a nurse up north. Now, full circle, I have a 3rd grade grandson, Ethan, at Milton, and his brother Charlie will be in kindergarten next year. And West Milton was a very strange place to me in the 70s, early 70s. But it's home and has been for a long time. And watching my children, their friends, and now their children has always been the best reason to work at Milton, and snow days in summer. And going into the new school this year was kind of bittersweet, yeah. But and a challenge, a big challenge. But all is working out for the best now. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Dottie Foster.
Hi, my name is Dottie Foster. I worked in the cafeteria at Milton Union School for 25 years. My supervisors were Miriam Harry. I worked for her 1 year. I worked with Pat Williams, Lynn Hoff, and Barbara J. My co-workers that I work with on my side was I did pots and pans, I did the tables. I work with Shirley Applegate, and Pat Kelly, Peggy Stein, Lynn Boffman, and I work with Glenna Donor. I worked on the serving line the majority of my years. I served 3 years in the high school and the rest in the middle school. The best part of serving was being around the children and watching them grow up and from year to year and how they changed and their manners. I served ice cream and I served the fruit and the ice cream and the cookies. And I put out the milk. When they would ask for a cookie, I would say, please, please. And they would say, please. And then I had, in the 25 years that I served, I had one boy say, I do not have to say please to get a cookie. And I said, yes, you're right, and I don't have to give you a cookie. and while I was telling him this, a teacher walked up behind him and heard him say that to me. And he said, yes, you do. If you want a cookie, you say please. And he said, please, may I have a cookie? And I said, yes, you may. But he was a very cute little boy. He was like in the 2nd grade, I think, or something. But most generally, they all remember their please and thank yous, which was very nice. The most part was seeing them grow up and how they changed through the years and would leave the middle school and go to high school. And then I went over to the high school for 3 years, and then I met them over there. But yes, they do recognize you when you go to, and I've lived in Milton 48 years. And I had, my husband Elwood and I had 3 boys and a girl. We had a boy and a girl and 2 boys. I have 5 granddaughters and 3 great-granddaughters. My oldest son is in the Air Force. He's retired now with 28 years. Jeff lives in Milton, West Milton, and Chris and Yvonne lives in Inglewood. And I enjoyed my years in the cafeteria. We no longer have Pat Kelly with us and Shirley Applegate. We lost them, and those were the ones that I worked frequently with. I enjoyed my time, and I'm thankful that I got to work for the school system. I met a lot of nice friends, and I'm glad I get to see them from time to time in this little town.
Tell
Thank
us
you.
about cooking.
Thank you.
Who did the cooking and what kind of food did you have? I heard somebody talk about the hamburgers.
We had peanut butter and chocolate chip and oatmeal cookies.
That you baked?
Yes, we baked them.
Okay.
In the oven, yes.
Okay.
Oh, well, yeah, in the
So
oven.
now you don't serve cookies anymore though, do you?
I don't
Do
know,
you
do
serve
you?
cookies
Do you
anymore?
still serve
We've
cookies?
served
Not much.
once this year, I think, or twice.
Twice this year.
Twice.
It's the timing, you don't have time to do
Time.
them anymore.
And
Yeah.
the cost is, a lot of the cookies that are flavorful are not where we can serve them because of the guidelines. And
That's right.
so now we have prepackaged double chocolate, and
Yeah.
they're made
They're
with oatmeal
oatmeal.
and chocolate chip. And
So what's a typical lunch that you serve today?
what we had hamburgers, cheeseburger today.
But we have the whole wheat buns and, what
Sweet
is it this year?
potato puffs.
51% this year of
Yeah.
whole wheat. Next year's 100% whole wheat.
Okay, so there'll be no more white bread served?
There hasn't been white
There
bread
hasn't been for a long time.
Really?
I was, last year, I served the whole grain,
Yeah.
50%, 51%.
Yeah.
Because I knew it was coming, so you might as well get the kids used
That's
to
right.
it. And then they gotta have so many green vegetables, so many orange, and the kids just don't like all this. The french fries maybe once a week, mashed potatoes we have once a month. We used to have them
Right.
every week.
Yeah.
Do we still serve pizza?
Yeah, we have,
whole
but they're
grain.
Whole
whole
grain?
grain pizza crust.
No salt, no
No salt.
seasoning at all, no,
Well, what do you
no.
serve with a hamburger, just a hamburger?
We had sweet potato tots and peas today.
Peas.
Not green peas, but peas. Lettuce, tomatoes.
Yeah.
And then do you have a salad bar or anything?
No, we
like
don't
that?
have salad bar anymore.
Okay.
No.
I think that would be nice to incorporate that someday.
Everybody
So
that,
it's a standard meal that everybody goes through and everybody eats the same thing?
well, we have, right now, and I forgot to say this, I work in the middle school, high school on the à la carte line, and we have quesadillas and, what do we have to, pork chop sandwich.
Pork chops, yeah.
And we have Big Daddy pizzas, which are, in my eyes, one of the best pizzas that is around.
They are good pizzas.
Yeah, they are.
You buy them from someplace?
They're made by Schwan, and then Debbie and the other girls that work earlier in the morning, they cut them. We got a big round thing, you just stomp down it, and it cuts it into 8 pieces. And that's the biggest seller, is the Big Daddy pepperoni and cheese pizza.
That and the breakfast for lunch is
Oh
always
yes,
a
when
big
we have
one.
breakfast for lunch, that's our best day.
What is that?
We have that, well, we did have it once a month, but towards the end of the year, we started having that twice, and they get a sausage patty, French toast, syrup, smiley potatoes, and then their choice of fruit. And we have just about every day 2 choices of fruit.
Okay. So in other words, they have quite a choice.
Yeah, they have it,
do.
and they can have 2 vegetables every day.
Okay.
And a lot of the kids don't like the vegetables, and they won't take them. But then we do have some that take both vegetables
they
every
do.
day.
Well, their portions have changed this year too. They get
Yeah.
a lot more.
Yeah,
as
it's
far
a lot
as fruit
more
and vegetable.
food, but it's
One
less-
full cup.
Less bread, less grains, as they call
Yeah.
it now, where before we gave them all the bread they wanted. Now, what is it? Just one grain, 1 or 2 grains a day for the elementary, middle school. High schools require two grains a day. So a lot of times they get an extra roll or a piece of bread to make up for their grains.
So what are the
Yes.
biggest differences between those of you who are retired and those that are still, what are the biggest differences you see in?
Fried chicken. We used to have big, heavy skillets that we'd fry all the chicken.
Yeah.
Never again.
Never again.
I say our new,
That's a thing in the past, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
say the new school doesn't even have a stove top. It's all ovens.
Yeah.
And no chocolate cake with
No
with
chocolate
peanut
cake
butter
Yeah.
icing.
anymore. No, we
Caramel
don't get
icing,
that
we used to
anymore.
have caramel icing
Caramel
on
icing,
chocolate
no.
cake.
So good.
That was heavenly.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, it
And
was.
we don't get that anymore.
Oh, it
Never.
was wonderful.
No.
We do too. I
Well,
bring it in
I'm
for
sorry. I'm
birthdays.
sorry. I'm sorry. I forgot about that.
What was that? I didn't hear.
I bring in chocolate cake with the caramel icing
Caramel
for the
icing.
birthdays of the month.
Oh, there you go.
That's nice.
But we get it.
The students don't get it.
No.
No.
Sure,
But
We,
we
the
get it.
employees, do.
sure. How long does it take you to serve? How many students do you serve and how long does it take you now?
Our biggest day this year has been 920 kids.
Okay.
But we could have 1,000, but we have never made it to that.
Okay.
What did we serve that day? Do you remember?
That was breakfast for
I
lunch.
thought so. I thought so. That's
And that was just a couple weeks ago, the last
that
time
was
we.
the busiest day I've had in a long time.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then how long did it take you to serve?
Well, we start serving at
10:40.
10:40, and then there's a break between high school and middle school of, what, close to a half hour.
No, it's still.
20
only about-
minutes?
It's only about 15
Yeah,
minutes.
15
Well, it
minutes.
seems
15,
longer than
15.
that.
50 to
They
20
get up
minutes.
at 11:09 and we have a little bit of time to wipe all the tables off and
11:15 is when the middle
11:15 they're
school comes
starting
in.
in.
And then it's continuous till 12:35, 12:40.
Okay, and then you're done.
Then we're done.
You have to
Clean
Oh,
up
yeah.
And we have to
and,
clean up.
get ready for the next day.
Yep.
yeah.
Yep.
Finish
Sure do.
that day.
Do you still have pumpkin pudding?
No.
No pumpkin pudding? See, that was very good too.
We could use pumpkin incorporated into our menus, but we haven't done that yet.
But it was squash.
Yeah.
You used the squash.
Yes. But they put, it tastes like pumpkin pie, but they called it pumpkin pudding.
Okay.
And it was very good.
And spaghetti. We don't have spaghetti.
We don't.
We haven't had
No.
spaghetti
We
either.
we could get whole grain spaghetti and
Yeah,
I
you
know it,
could.
but the pots we have would not cook
enough.
You don't have big pots?
We don't
We have
no-
3 small ones.
And that wouldn't cook all that spaghetti.
No.
No.
So you never serve spaghetti anymore?
No.
No.
So what's a typical week of food? What-
Should
what
have
do
brought a
you-
menu.
Tell me a typical week,
What did we have
Monday through
yesterday?
Friday of food.
Chicken nuggets, yes.
We have a
chicken
lot of
nuggets.
chicken.
Lot of chicken nuggets.
That's okay. Chicken.
Chicken fries.
Tomorrow we have taco salad, which the
Okay.
kids like that real
Yeah.
well too.
Okay.
Friday's usually pizza.
Yeah.
What do we have Thursday? Okay, a typical week. I got to think back to last week.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
guess I've
I
wiped
see
it
the
out.
tray every day and can't tell
Hot
you.
dogs?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we
We
do
have
have
hot dogs
Thursday.
Thursday.
Okay.
We have hot dogs.
We have to have beans, which the kids not real fond of. We had,
Baked
with the
beans.
hot dogs, we have the baked beans. I think tomorrow with the taco salad, we have black beans.
Back beans, yeah.
But we have to
have-
have beans every week.
There
And-
again, we cooked the beans and then added the sauces to them to serve them.
We
Boston baked
we
beans.
just open a can.
And we
And
used to have ham and beans and cornbread.
Yes.
No.
Yes,
Oh,
we
yes.
did. We did. When,
And something this year that's new, and I don't know how the kids are taking to it, not very well, I'm sure, is beets.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Beets, yeah. They look at him like,
What are
no.
those?
And
You
I say,
don't
try
serve-
some, you know,
Right.
it makes you healthy.
Right.
You don't serve them any soups, do you?
No.
No.
We've had it once or twice this year, maybe.
We've
Tomatoes-
had macaroni and cheese too this year, and
One,
that's
yeah.
from,
GFS or,
no, a cheese company, I can't even think.
hmm.
Land of the Lakes.
Okay.
We
And
offer,
it's good.
we offer
It
soup
is
to the
good.
adults.
Okay.
the
Well, we
teachers.
had it for on the line too one
Yeah,
day.
one
Some-
day.
We have fish sandwich,
Yeah, fish sandwiches.
french
So
fries.
basically, you don't prepare food, you
Warm it up.
warm it up.
Yeah.
And it's all shipped to you, all brought
Yeah.
into you? Okay.
It's all
The
pre-cooked.
government says
pre-cooked.
how much and what kind.
Oh, yes, and it's more stricter now than it
Yes.
ever was.
Yes.
I would hate to think how long we'd be there if we had to prepare it all
Uh-huh.
from scratch, you
Well,
know.
I think I think that the cafeteria workers, when you all were working there, came in early.
Oh, yeah.
Because they.
Six,
did
they were all
the
at
food.
6 o'clock to start
We didn't
cooking.
have prepared food.
No,
When
No.
we went
No.
to school.
Me
Right.
neither. Me
Uh,
neither.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
I
we
didn't
didn't have it when I went to school
Yeah,
either.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
all
home
home
cooked.
cooked.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yes, we
That's
were
right.
always, Milton was always noted for the best chili, too.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Chili was
Oh, yeah.
delicious that day.
My sister-in-law still asked if we
Yeah.
had the chili and
Yeah.
peanut butter sandwich. Yep.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that started me with peanut butter sandwich. You gotta have a peanut butter sandwich with chili.
That's right.
Yeah.
They
That's
dip
right.
it, they dip it in.
Yeah, you do.
I
great.
got on my daughter for that. I hate to see that. Well, that's the way you eat it at school. You dip the peanut butter in the, okay.
Yeah.
What is it that you least like about your job?
I love my job. I've worked for 29 years and
Good for you.
I probably ought to retire, but I don't know. I know I'm gonna work one more year, but that'll be 1 year after that and another year probably, but I don't know.
Do you like it? That's what's important.
The kids, I love the kids.
Sure.
That's the
what
way with
makes-
me. I
So
love
it
the
makes the
kids.
job good. when you're
Yeah.
in the
Yes,
cafeteria
it
with the
is.
kids.
Sure.
They say the darndest things, you know? And they're always honest.
Yeah, they are. They are.
They are, really are.
Yes, they are.
I loved working in the elementary when I was there, or in the high school building when I first started, because my two younger kids would come through the lunch line. Mom, can we have an extra pizza? Okay, so I'd write it down, have to pay for it as soon as I got through with the cashiering. And then when I was in the elementary, when the bicentennial coins, all the different states came out,
Yeah.
I was able to collect all those coins and then pay the register back. So I really got a lot of coins that way from my family and all. And then we had a boy come in one time. I think they had, these silver dollars, the actual silver dollars. And he was bringing silver dollars in, and we thought, oh, he's gotten into Dad's coin collection. So we saw a lot of that with the coins. That's my end of it with the cashiering. You'd see things like that. But it was rewarding.
Yeah.
And then my grandkids came in too. And then, of course, they'd come in in their daddy's arms or mommy's arms. Can I have a pretzel, Grandma? Can I have a cookie, Grandma?
And I enjoyed giving him a cookie.
Huh?
I'd give him a cookie.
Oh, yeah, Dottie was good to give them the cookie.
Now we give them graham crackers when they come in.
Oh, did you?
I think it's so sad to see, like, when we work, a lot of us there, so many have passed on.
Passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many of them.
Yes.
I've worked years with them and they, yeah.
Pat Williams and Pat Kelly.
Shirley Applegate.
Yeah, Shirley Applegate. Yeah, that's who I
Well,
worked
Miriam
with.
Harry.
The longest.
Yeah.
I don't
She was, I
remember
worked
her.
for her 1 year,
Miriam.
and then she
I
retired.
thought you worked for Miriam longer than.
No, I did not. I worked with Miriam Harry 1 year.
I worked with her.
I
when
subbed with her
first
for
started.
3 years.
Oh.
Subbed with her.
Well, maybe you were subbing when I subbed
Yeah,
for Miriam.
could be.
Because I remember over in the primary
Yeah.
building.
Because when I subbed, she always called me, but I worked with her full-time a year, and then I worked with Pat Williams the most. Yes, and Barbara J. 3 years in high school.
Laura Burning was another cashier that worked in our building. I trained her on the register, and she got a brain tumor. And she, another one that passed away from our employees.
Yeah, I said Laura.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How big a change has the computers been?
Oh, the kids can't fool you and try to use someone else's money because their picture's right there on our screen now.
That's
Yeah.
my explain, because I've never seen that.
Okay,
Explain that.
About '03 was when they started, I think, when.
I don't know, I didn't start
retired
until
in
'05.
'04, and I was with them for a year, I think.
Okay. Yeah, when they put in their PIN number, they have a 4-digit PIN number, every student has one, and they put it in, and I press the little button on the machine, and it pops up, and it has their picture, their school picture for the year before. That way,
Yeah.
I can compare. I just hate it when you're with these high school girls because they change their hair color a lot. You know, I've got this blonde on the screen, I've got a brunette or a redhead standing in front of me, and I really have to pay attention. You know, but that helps a lot.
Do the kids even carry money anymore nowadays?
Yes, they do. The parents can prepay if they want. They can do it online with a debit card, credit card, I think. They can send in checks.
Most of our audience won't know that.
Right. They can send in checks with their student. We get those, like, from the grade school a lot. In the morning, we get prepays, is what we call it. And we just plug in their PIN number and apply it to their account. Then when they come through, they don't have to hand us any money. And then you have others that bring in their money every day and just hand it to you. A lot of the high school kids, they come in and they only want to put on what they have to have. Because as I heard today, was the rest of it goes in my gas tank. Wasn't going to get much gas, let me tell you. Not at 3 something a gallon. But I know you had asked earlier what you dislike about your job. The only thing I can honestly say is the poor little kids when you know, mom or dad just doesn't have the money and you just keep hearing it. And I'm like, okay, well, bring it whenever you can. You know, it breaks your heart because it's not the child's fault that they don't have their lunch money with them. You know, and I know times are tough, so.
So do some children get free lunches too?
Oh yeah, there's free and reduced lunches, full pay.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just up to the parents to fill out the paperwork, you know.
They can
that's
still
necessary.
charge that.
Oh, yes, they
yeah.
can charge.
Still charge.
Mm-hmm.
Only
But up to $5, that's the
up to
cutoff.
$5.
Yes. It
That's
can't
not
go over
penny for-
$5. And if you're doing, you know, $2.15, it's
Yeah.
only 2 meals.
Right.
You know, you can't go to the third one.
Well, and the computer shows you if they've gone over the $5.
Right.
Then you have to.
The computer will stop me. It won't let me go on. It won't let me just bypass that. It's very smart. You can't make it do it. 'Cause it won't.
When you do, a child doesn't go hungry, right?
No, they don't go hungry. For the little ones, we let them go for 5 days, 5 meals. And then on the 6th one, they get an actual peanut butter bun and a carton of milk. But it usually, you know, have I done that once this year maybe?
I think you and Jodelle each have done it once.
Once. It only takes that one time and that kid goes home and next day that child has money. I think it's just because, you know, maybe mom or dad and we write notes. We send notes home every day when there's somebody that's, we have what we call low balance notices, once it gets below $4. And we send those home with the students. Well, we give them to the teachers now, is how I do it, because half the time you find them on the floor in the cafeteria. And I always put the child's name, the date, how much they have left in their account, and then we have little borrow slips. And do the same thing, how much they've borrowed, the date, their name, and the teacher's name. That way I know who to give them out to and stuff. But yeah, I mean, you know, and then of course the school is sending letters to the parents too, so they know.
Sure.
But this gets it out there quicker than the letter because the letter's got to go through the postal service.
Sure.
And I think they might do some emails too, I'm not sure.
If they prepay on the accounts, they're automatically sent an email through the computer system that they're on a low balance.
Interesting. I had no idea that.
Technology has changed.
Yes.
Oh, yes, yes, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
Do the ladies also do the breakfast? I have two. Do they have breakfast? Is that different group?
No, that would be the early morning people. Now, I don't come in and run the register for breakfast. My boss, Lynn, she does that. She takes care of all the breakfast.
So you do serve breakfast and lunch?
Yes.
Okay. To everybody or just to?
No, anybody can buy breakfast, and next week we have grandparents coming in for breakfast also.
Okay.
And on Monday, we have 100 grandparents coming in.
Wow.
And I think Tuesday was 75. And that's because I called the milkman to order more milk. And he told me Wednesday he'd get it on Friday. So those numbers stick in my head for grandparents.
But, oh, go ahead. I was just wondering myself, how many on a typical day eat breakfast?
High school, middle school isn't quite 100. And then elementary is 100 or over every day.
So quite a difference in that and lunch, though. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you serve breakfast then before class?
Yeah.
Before they start to class?
Yeah.
So they come there early, get
Well,
breakfast?
the buses start dropping them off, I'm not sure what time, but we serve breakfast from 7:30 for middle and high school, from 7:30 to, no, 7 to 7:30.
Yeah.
And then Head Start comes in at 8:15 for breakfast, and elementary, they're come in at 8:30 to 9 o'clock.
Okay. Well, I did not realize that either. I didn't know that you served breakfast.
It's optional.
Okay.
We've done
Yes.
it,
Yes.
I'd say at least 9 years we've had breakfast.
Okay.
You had it
Ever
before
since I was
retired,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't open to everyone, was it?
Yes, it was.
Even then, back when we
Oh,
were in
yeah.
school, it was open to everyone.
But it's more of a hot breakfast now than it was before.
Yeah, well, when we were in the old building in the elementary, middle school, we had to serve it as a grab and go because they didn't have any place to sit. And then we had people that would, the aides and stuff would do the breakfast, the handing out of it. We would fix them, but then now we've got the facilities where they could go through and sit and eat a hot breakfast. And we have hot breakfast at least 3 days a week, sometimes 4.
Okay. Interesting. I had no idea.
But it's all prepackaged too.
I'm sure.
But they have some pretty good things. I like the pancake, mini pancakes and mini cinnas and blueberry waffles and
Don't they have cinnamon pizza?
cinnamon pizza
Yeah.
and sausage gravy pizza for the high school and middle school. They have Pop-Tarts, cereal.
I didn't know that either.
And usually every day is a sausage cheese sandwich.
Yeah, for the high school.
For the high school kids.
And middle school has sausage cheese sandwich.
Okay.
Now, are your guidelines as strict for breakfast as they are for lunch?
Not this year, but next year they are.
Okay.
Does the government subsidize any of this guideline?
They're the ones that put this out, and,
Yeah.
I mean, do they subsidize it in some way then, or like provide?
oh
some
yes,
of it, or-
for every breakfast, we get money back from the government for breakfast and lunch.
And that's why you gotta be in compliance with them.
Yeah.
Otherwise you'll be cut off.
You won't get the money.
Sure. Anything else to add?
It's good to see you all.
Retirees, it's good to see you.
Yeah.
Betty?
I got one more thing. I look forward also to the at Christmas time, the parties that we have.
Yeah.
We go out for dinner and sometimes we exchange gifts, and it's just a good fun time with the employees.
Sure, good. You're a close group, aren't you?
We try to be.
We can, yeah.
Yes, that's good, that's good. Well, thank you all very, very much. This has been most interesting, and we've thoroughly enjoyed this afternoon, so thank you for coming, and thank all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank all of you.
Okay.